Hello, everyone. My name is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained. And yet again, I brought another fantastic group of independent comic book creators. And please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, let everybody know we're here. Just to let you know, tomorrow I'll be on the Raging 2 podcast with Daphne and Nita Lanning. And I will be offering up these things to the first 45 backers of my new Kickstarter for the Oswald Chronicles. And so, be there. All right. And then one other thing later on in the week, I'll be doing a reading of this thing. That's the Elementals issue number 2. I'm a little late with it, but I've been busy as all hell lettering. All right. So without further ado, let's bring on our co-host for the week. Listen, I've upgraded. I have upgraded. Let me tell you. Bam. Upgrade.
Wow. Damn. Shade. Even when he's not here, he's getting shade.
Where's it, George? Before you start, Jay is on vacation. He's in Florida. I hope he's having a good time. I hope he's enjoying himself. I like to bust his chops no matter at any opportunity. So we wouldn't be New Yorkers if that wasn't the case.
I hear you. I hear you. No, but thank you for having me here. My name is Jorge Medina. I am the creator and writer of Rust 5377 and The Adventures of Wonder Duck. I also do a little lettering on the side, and I'm also a co-host on the podcast Catch the Craze that comes on Tuesday evenings at 9 p.m. live here on YouTube.
All right, cool. See, I see. Look, Sam is lucky that you don't do to him what I do to Jay. I'm just saying, right?
Oh, it's great.
We'll be flying out of Texas to come get us.
It's comedy, man. It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
All right, and our Coco made it. What's up?
What's happening? How y'all doing?
We're good, brother. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Paul Gomez. I'm a relatively new writer creator. Got a few books out: Bushy Boo, Circus Mystery, PTSD, Cryptic Haze, and my last one's Prelude to Aurora.
All right, very nice, very nice. And let's bring on our guest, Mr. Sam. Please introduce yourself, sir.
How's it going, gentlemen? I am Sam Quinton. I own and operate Sonoma Publishing right here in Frankfort, Kentucky. We produce role-playing game books as well as indie comics. Our indie comic titles include 47 Furious Tales, written by me and illustrated by Alexia Veldhausen, Reign of Ages, written by me and illustrated by Nick Capone, Tipping Into Time-Traveling Psychedelic Mushrooms, written by me and illustrated by Damien Dimitri Torres. We also publish Necroholic by Brian Lee. We are going to be publishing Ninth Degree by Paul Walcott beginning in July, and Red Claw by Christian Martinez beginning in August. Pardon me.
All right, very busy schedule.
Very.
Yes. Nice. And we also have on.
Hey, I'm Marvin Wynn, writer, creator of The Edge, coming straight out of Comicsburg.
Nice. All right, cool. We also have Mr. Paige.
Alfred Paige from Page One Comics / Comicsburg. Happy to be here.
All right, cool. So listen, I mean, the show title is Do the Masses Know What They Want, and Should We as Indie Creators Even Care, right? So basically, I'm gonna post something up. I don't know how much you guys are on Facebook and Twitter. You guys may have seen this thing. You guys may not have seen this thing. But I think it's important to show. Okay, hold on. And of course, it's not shown. Because why would it?
I don't see anything.
That's not it.
This is the part of the show where JD would be busting your balls a little bit about what's going on.
Yes, he would. Yes, most certainly he would be.
Yeah,
This is a good example of JD building suspense.
Yeah. Press the other button.
Yes, it's always the other button, damn it.
Press the easy button.
Yeah.
The only problem with the easy button is often right next to the self-destruct button.
Right? There is no easy button in comics.
Yeah.
You need to watch that.
There you go.
There we go. We get something.
Oh.
Right.
There we go.
The Frank Miller cover. The Frank Miller cover.
The Frank Miller cover, right? So, listen, I've seen a lot of people just really bag on this cover, right? Like they're like, hey, I guess they feel his skills have degraded, and and this is not a very good cover. Now, I'll definitely say it's maybe not to certain people's tastes, but I don't think his skills have degraded as much as people might think. And I just want to get your thoughts on it because I got a whole little thing going on here. Like, look, this is what we're seeing now from him, right? This is where Frank Miller started, right? This is Frank Miller. I believe this is his first Daredevil cover. The first issue he actually illustrated, right? And then we go on. Here's some of his interiors, right? You can tell the man is very skilled.
Mm-hmm.
Issue 2 Wolverine cover, right? Classic. Ronin, right? And you see his style starting to change. It's starting to progress, or he's changing it, and this is something he's doing consciously. This is not an unconscious thing. He's doing this very, very conscious of what he's doing, right? And then we see this again, Wolverine drawn in a different style, closer to this, right? That Dark Knight, right? And then we have Sin City. And then this is something he did in 2000, where you can see his style is starting to strip down, right? And now we have this. This is actually, I think, a very funny cover. I really kind of like this one. This is interesting. This is the Blade one. And then we have, here's something he's holding up, for the writer's strike that's going on now, showing his support to those guys, which is cool. And this figure is solid, right? And, I think Frank Miller is showing us something, like I say in the title. You don't give the audience what they want, because what they always want is candy, right? They always want something sweet put in their mouths. They always want something. They don't want anything hard, right? And that's what he's presenting us with, right? It's not to everybody's taste, right? But, it is something very different. Now, my question to you guys is, what do you guys think of that? What do you think of, that type of approach from a creator, right? So I'll open it up. Whoever wants to go first, please go first.
I'll go first. I mean, the thing about it is this. It's like it has to go through the editor. And the editor still got to approve it no matter who the artist is. Frank Miller, I mean, great, huge. I mean, you don't really want to tell him no to anything. Mm-hmm. But, early on in my career, I was dealing with an editor who was talking to some big names and they got a cover back and they didn't like it. And I said, you're going to tell them no? This is like one of the top 10 people in the art industry today. And you're going to send them back a cover because you didn't like something small. And he's like, yeah, it's not what I wanted. It's not what the customer wanted. He needs to redo it.
Okay.
Now, even that person that was doing that cover was on Frank Miller's kind of level. And this was an indie book. So that editor had to go back there and tell him, hey, go redo this cover because that's not what we wanted from you. So why wouldn't Marvel do it? I mean, is that what you think Marvel wanted?
I think it's kind of like you said, though. It's kind of like, what does the editor want, right?
Well, and in that case, it's really the publisher.
Right, the publisher. But also, it's Frank Miller. He could have probably just walked in there and said, listen, I'm going to give you what I give you, and that's what you're going to get.
Well, like I was saying, the editor I was talking to originally, he was talking to Bill. I'm gonna wreck his name. Yes. So, and I was like, you're going to send him back a cover because you didn't like one small. I'm not talking about like the entire centerpiece. I'm talking about a small detail that was on the side. So, I mean, could you imagine sending something back to Bill or Frank? But I mean, at a certain point, you still have to, if that's not what the customer wants, and that customer is Marvel. If they were okay with it, that's Marvel's choice. But I don't think that's what the audience, covers sell.
But that's the thing, though. That's what we're discussing, right? Because obviously the publisher accepted it, The
Right.
publisher put their logos on it. They had it colored. They paid for it to get colored. They obviously paid whatever his fee is, and they put it out there. They're advertising. And here's the thing: there's Marvel releases what, maybe 100 books a month, right? I don't normally talk about Marvel comics ever. Okay, if I do, sure. I mean, listen, I grew up on them. I love them. Growing up, occasionally I'll read one or two. I'll buy the omnibuses. You know, if I hear there's a good run. But normally I don't talk about them. I'm into indie stuff. But you know, here's a situation where something happened where I'm talking about it.
Right.
Of those 100 other covers, how many of them am I going to talk about? Even Arthur Adams, I won't bring his covers, but I love his covers.
Now, and you don't know what happened behind the scenes. I mean, he could have said, "Hey, you either take it or leave it," and they decided to take it. I don't think they really expect that cover. I mean, if you had to choose, would you buy that cover from Frank Miller? I mean, wouldn't you choose something else?
Well, first of all, I probably wouldn't buy a Marvel book. I wouldn't even consider buying Marvel.
Okay, I'm talking about the average consumer that would actually buy. I'm not talking about you.
But here's something funny about it. I'm considering buying that book, which is a hell of a whole lot more than me just ignoring everything they do.
So I mean, if you back it up, he did some covers for DC a couple years ago that were in that style, Batman and Wonder Woman. And to me, the way I look at it is he getting by on his name. It's going to sell because it has Frank Miller on the cover. Take the name off of that and look at that. Would you buy it?
No.
Or what would your comment be on it if it wasn't drawn by Frank Miller?
Take it back.
Right. If we're gonna roll it back like that, right. But the thing is, though, is we are talking about Frank Miller, and he has a certain pedigree.
Right.
Shouldn't you keep him to a higher standard because he is Frank Miller?
But you got to also remember, though, is what's the intention of the artist, right? Like, what's
it might be
what's
to cause the controversy that's going on. So
right, is he doing the piece so that we talk about it? Right?
Yeah,
because he might be putting it out there and say, "Listen, I got to make these people think about this." Right? It's not that he can't draw the way he used to draw, right? It could just be he's like, "No, I want you to think about it. I'm making it ugly."
Yeah, right? But that's just a hypothetical. I mean, maybe he was just having a bad day and didn't want to work.
I don't know, because it's too consistent.
I don't think
you don't really know. I mean, I'm not saying that it isn't the way he. Maybe he is making.
Niggas want a different look at Wolverine, and the controversy on the cover is going to make it sell even hotter. That cover's going to go crazy.
Right.
Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's complaining about it. That cover's going to go crazy.
Batman, real quick. The Batman cover he did a couple years ago.
Hold on.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's very simplistic. And looking at this, you can people can pull it up. You can see the simplistic lines that he used because things aren't even connecting properly to the body.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like something he drew like in an afternoon, and it was like, "Hey, I'm done."
Yeah.
All right. You're talking like this one?
No. I mean, it's a newer cover he did recently of Batman.
Oh, okay. Like these I have prepared. I'm not.
So, I mean, it's very similar to the Daredevil Elektra one where, I mean, you can look at things and things aren't connecting properly.
Right. Right. You can tell. Look, are you going to say his anatomy is wrong? Probably. But this is, do you equate this to style versus function? Right?
Yeah.
Like, do you prefer style? Right? Over function, hold on. I'm gonna pull up. I prepared a few of these. Let me see something. All right, let me pull up this one. So we're gonna pull up a completely different artist. Damn it. Oh, okay. This is why Jay says I should have a producer.
Gotta be on it.
I don't know. I mean, when I look at it, I'm thinking that he's just doing what he feels like he's doing because he wants to do it that way.
Right.
And the publishers aren't going to push back on Frank Miller. They're not going to say, "Hey, Frank, redraw this." because it's going to sell no matter what, because it has his name.
Now,
but shouldn't they keep him to a higher standard because he's Frank Miller? I mean, shouldn't he set that bar for everybody else?
Not necessarily. I mean, his bar might not necessarily be to say, oh, there are plenty of people who draw fine and continue to draw fine, right?
Or he doesn't really care about, he's not trying to mentor anybody either, because if he was, and he would pull someone underneath him and say, hey, I'm going to be your mentor on your path, he probably is like, this is what I'm going to do, and what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe he just didn't care.
Yeah.
I mean, he might be at that point that he doesn't care that much. What I'm saying is, like, think about the kids. Think about the kids that are looking at this, and is this inspiring them? Is this what they're looking?
Well, you got to.
Yeah, it may not be about all that. It might just be about the controversy of the cover and the sales. The cover is going to be a red hot cover. I mean,
but again, you don't know. That's what his mind is. It might have been him being lazy. You don't know. It could be either or.
You don't know. Yeah, I mean, everything's just
But shouldn't the editor keep him to that higher standard? Shouldn't Marvel have wanted better?
But that's conjecture, though.
Right? Now, having said that, there was a Marvel cover that came out, I want to say about 2 months ago, and everybody was on it about the anatomy of it. And this was a newer female artist, and they were saying how bad she was at anatomy, and that 90% of the artists out there could have done a better job than her, but Marvel let it slip through. And I don't think that was because of her name, because she didn't really have one.
Right.
But now you got this one about 2 months from then, and now it's Frank Miller. Of course, they're not going to push him as hard because he's Frank Miller. But shouldn't he have that bar that's higher?
I mean, see, here's the thing, Paul. Like for you, I get what you're saying, right? But the thing is I don't think Frank's mind is where we're at. Like, he's thinking of pushing form and function. He's stripping it down to its bare core. That's what he's doing to the artwork, right? He started off, originally, he was like a Neil Adams clone or a John Buscema clone. Right. And you see his style changing.
And it became a style all of its own. But I mean, to get to this point, yeah, I mean, this Wolverine cover is pretty drastic.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. That's maybe where he's taking. He's maybe taking it to the extreme. I got friends, personal friends. I could show him layouts from an artist, and he'll be like, "Yo, that's hot." And then I'll show him the finishes, and he'll be like, "Nah, I like the layouts better." Right? Because he likes that rough, crude form.
And a lot of people do like that. But I mean, if you show this to, I think 90% of the people seeing this cover are going to say, "Why would anyone?"
And you know what? You know what? I agree with you on that. But the thing is, he's not doing it for the 90%.
Well, again, you don't know. You don't know his train of thought. Maybe it is, like I said, a bad day. Maybe it is him not really wanting to put the effort into it. Maybe it is him just giving up on that day. You don't know that.
Right, but just like you don't know if it's the other way. Right?
Like
I said, we're just all guessing.
I think it's the editor's responsibility to keep it to
a certain standard. You feel there should be a certain standard. Well, here, let's look at this. Do you know who this is? Dragon Force, #1, Aircell Comics. This is Dale Keown. You know who Dale Keown is, right?
Yep.
Right, here's a few more covers by Dale. This is Dale starting off on the Hulk. This is, because, you know, if you look at Dale's stuff when he starts, he's a John Byrne clone. Right? And then he builds, and I'm pulling this up to show you the exact opposite, right? Because he's building up. He's like, now he's starting to develop his own style, and now this is what when we experience Dale, this is usually what we see. Right? We're seeing like, whoa, that's crazy looking, right? And this is the exact opposite of what somebody like Frank Miller is doing. Frank Miller is stripping it down. You know, Dale is building it up. Now the question is, obviously more people are going to prefer this, but if you want to think about what we're doing, right, as creators, right, shouldn't we have both conversations?
I don't think, I mean, Frank Miller had a style all of his own, and a lot of people admired his style. I don't think, like I said, 90% of the people out there think that this is the style that he's headed to. I think that this is a digression of what he became. His style is amazing, and so many people come to, talk about him and his rough, gritty, beautiful style. But this is something different.
No, but here's the thing though. It's like I'm telling you though, man. It's like we're not talking like there's 99 other books with 99 other covers. And are we gonna talk about any of them? Probably not. Right? Not Art Germ, not Arthur Adams, not Dale Keown. None of those other guys are gonna even come out of my mouth. But you see that and the controversy that is stirred because it's polarizing. Right?
But it's negative.
Some people like it. Well, no, that's not true. There professionals who will be like, yo, they love it because they love that stripped down style.
I threw that
it's just
into the chat.
It's a gimmick cover. That's all it is. It's a gimmick cover.
Right? It's like Jack Kirby. It took me a long time to appreciate Jack Kirby's work.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It wasn't until I started seeing his pencils that I really started liking his work.
Yeah.
Right? And then I saw his pen. Then I started to appreciate what I'm seeing, and I'm like, oh, okay, I see what he's doing. There's a lot of power in that work.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not for everybody. You gotta get to that point. When I was a kid, I was, looking at John Byrne and then looking at John Buscema, and then when you see Jack Kirby, it's a little off-putting, right? And then as you get older, you're like, oh, okay, no, there's something there, and it's way more than you might be thinking. So I just wanted to bring it up. I just thought it was
intriguing at the very least, definitely.
Yeah, right. I dropped that Batman image in the chat if you want to grab it from there.
Okay, yeah, hold on, I'll pull it up. Is that what that was? Okay, yeah.
So, that image just shows that this is the style he's been using for a while, and Marvel knew what they were getting into. But I think they probably looked at the sales of that Batman and Wonder Woman, whatever book those were on, and were like, okay, that's what we want.
Do you think this book's going to outsell most of the other books that are out this month?
Yeah.
Do most of those books sell well anyway?
Around it, why not to?
There's probably one or two that still. Yeah, controversy does sell, but is it for the right reason?
It's a temporary boost, is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, see, that I think is beautiful.
That's cool.
That really is cool. I don't think you would put that on Facebook and have a lot of people gripe about that image right there. But if you go to Facebook today and they're talking about this other Frank cover, and most of them are making fun of it. I know I went into one chat and they were talking about the John Romita Jr. cover that he did at a convention that was pretty messed up, and they were comparing the two. And they were talking about how John was only took like 10 minutes to do his. And they're like, maybe Frank only did 10 minutes to do his too. And
right. That's what I was saying before, is that he
I don't know.
took an afternoon and it was done. He was like, that's it. That's what you get.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I think. I could be wrong.
I think. Listen, I agree. I agree with Paul. I think that as a professional, you have a responsibility to put something professional out there. I understand what Frank Miller is doing. It's Frank Miller, and while I agree with Paul, I also understand. That because it's Frank Miller, he can do whatever he wants. All these people that are saying they're loving it, if I drew that out there, they would not say I was drawing it. They would tell me to go back to school, learn anatomy, and learn what I'm doing before I put something like that out there. But it's Frank Miller, so he's not going to get that criticism, which I understand too. You know what I'm saying? It's the world we live in, unfortunately. He has a name, we don't. He can
popularity sells.
He can shit on a piece of paper and sell it, and we're going to buy it. But we're who we are, so we can't do that yet. We get to that level, we might be able to do it. You know what I mean? And that's just, the reality of what's going on.
I'm going to make a shirt. Popularity sells.
Yes. Well, like I said, I think his thought process, it would be interesting to hear him talk about it, like his process, like what he's doing, like what he did, like where he started and where he's at today. Because I know it's a thing about discovery, and like I say, I think he's just stripping down his style. He's stripping it down to its most basic, right? And to him, that's what he finds the most interesting.
Why do you think he's doing it? Just because he can?
No, because he finds it interesting. It's an experiment, right? Like, here's something I'll do, right, as an experiment as a writer, because I can only do but so many, right? I'm writing a story for the Oswald Chronicles. Oswald walks into a bar, right? He's in Dream. He walks into a bar, sitting at a table. It's kind of like a joke, right? He's sitting at a table. You see Edgar Allan Poe, H.P. Lovecraft, Mary Shelley, and I'm blanking on a couple of the names, but it's the guy who wrote Dracula, so on and so forth. And each of them are having drinks. Yeah, Bram Stoker thing. And each of them are having drinks, and there's a couple other guys. But whatever. Each of them are having drinks, and these are all authors who have known, who've written famous monster ghost stories or whatever, right? So my challenge to myself is to write a short 2-page story for each of those characters that are telling Oswald a story in their style. Okay? So I have to try to mimic their style. Why am I doing that? Because I'm fucking insane, and because, like, you know, it's an experiment. You just want to, once in a while, you just want to try something a little different, right? It's like you got the 9-panel grid, right? And then you have that page with 26 panels, right? Have you ever seen those where it's just a bunch of little boxes? You'll see an artist freaking out.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just like, what the hell is that? Why did they do that? Because they just want to try something different once in a while. So, and I think that's all that is. I think he's just trying, he's experimenting with his style. He's just trying to push that forward, that narrative, you know? I don't know. I mean, I like I said, I find it fascinating. And I think, there you go. Keep the indie spirit alive. Thank you, Carlos. But yeah, man, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I wanted to bring it up because, yeah, I see him getting bagged on, and I'm like, I don't think people are really getting where his heart is at, you know? And it could be like Paul says, maybe he just doesn't care. It's possible.
Maybe he just had an off day.
That's possible too. See, the only problem I have with that one is he's done 4 covers, so that means he'd have to have at least 4 off days.
Maybe he did them all on the same day.
He did them in the same.
He didn't do his warm-ups.
Yeah,
he didn't stretch.
He didn't stretch. There you go. All right, gents. So let's move on. That was my tirade. Oh, and here's the last of that, right? Because we all know who James Gunn is, the director from Guardians of the Galaxy. He got Guardians of the Galaxy. One of the things that I found very interesting that he said about that first movie, he says, look, I'm not going to give you what you want. I'm going to give you what you need, right? And that, for me as a creator, that means a great deal. You understand? Because, one, not everyone can do that. Not everyone is good enough to know a consumer base that well that they can provide that. But James Gunn, I do think, is talented enough that he was able to do that, especially on that first movie. And it's certainly the second movie. I enjoyed the third movie. But by him saying that, he shows he's very conscious of what the audience is and what they need, not necessarily what they want. Because, like I said, what I want personally is to eat chocolate cake all the time, right? But my doctor will tell me, you're an idiot, you're gonna die, right?
Gonna die anyway.
No, this is true, but you'll die a lot sooner and probably a lot more painfully, right? So yeah, that's the thing. So it's like sometimes you got to try to give the audience what you think they need, and sometimes not even what they need is what you need, right? And maybe that's what Frank Miller is presenting us. He's presenting us the artwork that he needs, right? And I mean, as a creator, I mean, you know, that's all we can want. Like I said, we're talking. Well, at least I'm talking about. I don't know. I found it interesting. So, you know, I just wanted to bring that up. All right, on to George. Your question.
Do you want to ask the masses know what they want, or should we as indie creators even care? Or are you kind of like, we covered that with that, you're saying?
Yeah, I feel that covered that. You know, unless you guys have something different to say about it. That's why I just threw it out there.
I personally think that the indie creator and us shouldn't care what the masses want, right? We shouldn't care. The indie publisher or the I should say the indie businessman who wants to sell this book needs to make what you don't care they need into what they want. That's your job. Make it what they want, right? Because at the end of the day, you want to sell this book. I think the indie creator, however, shouldn't care. I mean, you should just create what you want to create and then find a way to make it their want. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the weird balance between the two things.
Well, I mean, the key of marketing is to get somebody to buy something they don't want.
Mm-hmm. Right. Make it that, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's throw it out to everybody. Sam, what are you thinking? What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I think that on the creative side of things, we really have to be true to the story that we're telling, and we have to reach ourselves to do the best work we can. Now, with regard to the cover thing, I think that if I had provided an artist with minimal direction and, maybe not paid them as much as they were used to, and I get the cover that we're talking about, I shouldn't be surprised. But if I'm paying people fairly and well, if I'm giving them good direction on what I want, then I should exercise the clauses in my contract for corrections and changes to get what I want. As far as with the publishing aspect of it, publishing is not in of itself easy because it's very time consuming. You're familiar with this. I know several of you are familiar with this. Like some of the titles that I produce, we sell directly to the stores, but we also, put stuff through comics mainstream distribution to get into marijuana dispensaries. And that does very well for us, I think that on the publishing aspect, the Frank Miller cover is going to stand out on every shelf that it's put on with any other Marvel titles because it doesn't look like any of the others. Just like when you go into a comic shop like the Collective in Altamonte Springs, and you go out there and you look on their shelves and you see 47 Furious Tales or the Oswald Chronicles, and it doesn't look like the Punisher or Batman or anything else, and it stands out. People pick it up, they buy it, they go home, and enjoy it. So I think there are some pros and some cons. I don't pretend to know what was going on with the dynamic between the editor with the artist or anything like that, but I think that it's interesting that we hold up who we perceive the artist to be and then really want to kind of pick apart what our preconceptions are versus what we're seeing. And I think it tells us that there's a lot of interest in that creator, which is always marketable. So for whether we like the cover or not, the smart money on the street's going to say, hey, pick up a few of these books, because as far as we know, this might be the last time that Miller draws Wolverine for Marvel. It very well might be. They might be here and get their sales and be gimmicked out and done with it. Or 2 years from now, he might come through and draw something that just blows our socks off. But yeah, it's going to be a book that a lot of people are going to have in their collection.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Paige, you want to elaborate? Do you have anything else you want to elaborate on, or?
I mean, I like the cover, so I mean, I think it's different, and I think it's a different direction than everything else. So I think the cover in itself is going to be a hot item. I mean, the funny style, the childish style doesn't bother me. I mean, I know he could easily did it in another style, so he probably did like that on purpose. So the cover does look different from everything else that's coming out.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So
definitely.
I think the cover is going to be one of the best sellers because it's Frank Miller and because it looks different. I think the fact that it's being talked about so much it's going to make it grow in so much value that everybody's going to try to get that cover.
Yep. Marvin, you got anything to add?
I mean, like you said, we were saying before, is that you've seen a turnstile of Marvel artists, and some of them aren't that good, and people will tear them to pieces.
Right.
Like that. If it wasn't Frank Miller, that's what I'm saying. Is that if that wasn't Frank Miller, if it was Sumi Susu from Montana, they would rip that person to pieces, and Marvel would not approve that art. They wouldn't. So it's all everything. It's about name recognition. Like, I mean, what if we gone through for years throughout the '90s with that guy who can't draw feet? Same thing.
Well, true enough. You know, that guy gave us Deadpool though. A lot has been forgiven.
Gave us this much of Deadpool. The writers are what made Deadpool who he was.
Yes, definitely. Well, you know, they made him the writer that we know, the Deadpool that we know, because that's certainly not the Deadpool that it started out as.
Right. he was just a merc who couldn't die.
Yeah. Who was it? Joe Casey? Was he the one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I never read those. I never read those issues. I probably have to maybe pick them up or something. Paul, you have anything else you want to add?
I mean, we're talking about whether the indie creators should care or shouldn't care. You know, this is something that I tell a lot of new people. You got to figure out whether you're writing for the masses or you're writing for yourself. I think there's a delicate balance in there. But I mean, if you're not caring about the masses, you need to understand, you know, they're probably not going to be buying your books either. If you're just doing it for yourself and you're happy doing it for yourself, then that's all good. But, you know, if you are doing it for the masses, if you are doing it for the sales, then you should be caring what the people care about. You got to understand what your goals are before you do anything. And I'm not saying one way or the other is wrong, because I know there's a lot of stuff that I wouldn't do in comics, and a lot of people tell me to just so I can make a sale. And I'm like, you know what? I'm an indie creator. I can do anything I want at the moment. But then again, there are those lanes that I still try to stay in, like page counts and number of books. So if I do want to approach a publisher, I do have that kind of in mind before I go there. And a lot of indie creators don't think about that.
Well, and I think it's the marketing push of something like that too, because you can craft anything you want, and it can be horrible, it can be bad, but as you can market it properly, then people will buy it. I mean, that's why McDonald's is number one, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
they buy it every day, though, so.
That's a fact.
Yeah, you can go to the grocery store and get meat and make your own burger, but you can go to McDonald's and it's like quick, fast, in a hurry, and it's not good for you, but it's going to sell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, $1.99, Pat.
I thought they raised all their prices. I don't remember.
They did.
They did.
And people are still rolling up in there. Like what I started to notice is that you could probably go to a good sit down restaurant and have a burger almost the same price as McDonald's.
Yeah. A couple of dollars, yeah.
Yeah. But people are still going to McDonald's. Why? Because marketing.
Well, you know, they lost me a long time ago, thank God.
That's okay. 4 people replaced you. 4 people replaced you going there.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yes. Yeah, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. So George, we're back to you, sir. Do you have a question for the panel?
Yes. So just to pivot a little bit and taking it into the writing part of the indie world, what concerns you, if anything? What concerns you the most about the AI introduction into writing and into the arts?
Interesting. All right, let's start the way we normally start the show. We'll start with Sam.
Okay. So the evolution of AI writing and writing tools has been on a growth curve that is, for all intents and purposes, exponential in its capacity. So you have adverts right now from people who have co-opted the latest version of ChatGPT to write light novels, for example, under the guise of using it as a writer's tool. Now, what I think will happen is that we will see writers who are utilizing that tool set, and then initially people will be extracting the stuff that doesn't make sense. They'll be editing that work and then putting it out. And it will be very, very hard, if not impossible, for anyone to distinguish the final product from a one that's written by human beings, and that's with the current level of technology. What I do think people are going to be finding out as they look at this is that you're going to see segments in the way things are constructed that are very rote, very tropish, because that's how AI learns. And so you're going to see the same story with different names and different, orders of operation as far as how the story unfolds, but essentially the same story in a lot of key genres. Your fantasy tropes are going to get beat up pretty well, and then you're going to find someone who actually comes up with an interesting idea that we haven't seen maybe since the pulp era, or put a new twist on something that we saw during the early 20th century period, or even something like a Jules Verne's story on a new modern day twist. And we'll see something new and exciting, and then immediately the AIs will probe that, and you'll start to see that exploited. The creative energies of the writers are going to be hard pressed not to keep up with AI, because you literally can't write that fast, guys. You're not going to churn out 300 pages in 20 minutes. You're just not. But we're going to be pressed to plumb the depths of our imagination and find the stories that we want to tell, and tell them in our own voice. And you'll find that the AI will start cloning your voice. You'll find people saying, hey, write me an underwater adventure story after the style of Jules Verne with the character dialogue in the tradition of JD Calderon. I can put that into ChatGPT right now and get 300 pages before we're done broadcasting. Literally, that's today. Now, when you go through it, is it going to read well? No, you're going to have to go through and edit it. That's the world we're in now. A year from now, the editorial tool set will revise that so it's more in your voice as well. And so the only place that we are ahead is in having the actual creative spark, which ChatGPT and other purpose-driven AI don't have. They're not general AI. They're purpose-built functional programs. And we can debate at length what where we distinguish general AI and not, but I really don't want to go into the math, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, so let's avoid that. But I think of the thing that I see more people concerned with, well, finish up the writers thing. With the writers thing, I think that for me, I can use something to review my writing, and there's been plenty of tool sets that are out there. They've been advertised for years. They go through and look at the tense and the language, and make sure everything's in agreement. And that's a valuable tool set to avoid paying for an editor.
Right.
But I still hire an editor. I forego the tool set usually until I'm completely done. I brush it over to eliminate any embarrassing spelling mistakes. I put it in front of my editor. She laughs at some of the silly mistakes I've made. We correct them and we move on. The more concern that I hear from the people I work with are artists concerned about the prevalence of art, because while the writing AI has been advancing more dramatically in the years prior to the last 6 months, in the last 6 months in particular, the AI art has advanced to a point where, depending on which build you're using, with careful prompt construction, you can make AI art that is not readily distinguishable from the work of a very talented professional until you really get down in the weeds and start looking at brush strokes that have been cloned from other artists and things of that nature. I think that right now, and probably for the next few years, we're going to have to rely on the good faith of the people who are publishing and who are creating to keep work to artists. Personally, I'm not going to be using any AI created art on the stuff that we publish. I'm just not. Because that's something about how I run my company. But the collision of the two is something that I think that we all need to be a little wary of, from about probably 18 months from now, I think, is the timeline we're looking at. And the reason I say that is that about 18 months, given the current growth and progression of the skill sets between the AI art and the AI writing, in about 18 months, you have this intersection. And I'm literally talking probably about November of 2024. So if anyone wants to put that on their calendar, feel free to fact check me. But my expectation is in about 18 months, you'll see product that is being placed, particularly at first, I think very strongly in the novel, light novel kind of area, where the whole thing is being generated by AI tools, including the art set. So, for example, Japanese style light novels, you need a cover and maybe 10 interior pieces of line art, and then your AI art tool can do that in 30 minutes. By the time it's done, you're ready to slap that in your book, put it all together, send it to your editorial software, go over it, and then put it in front of a human to read it to see if what revisions need to be done. And you've got that entire light novel done in an afternoon.
Wow.
Now, when that happens, our light novelists who are already struggling and our novelists who are already struggling are now competing against something that costs a few dollars per book to write and illustrate. And I'm saying literally like under $50. And a digital release that could be 99 cents or $1 or whatever your platform allows. And they have all the consumable product that they want. And so we're going to have to make sure that we are creative and copywriting our stuff, being mindful to when AI is plumbing our stuff, and take appropriate legal action when our stuff is stolen. Copyright your stuff, trademark your stuff. Yeah, the trademark costs a lot of money. Copyright, not so much. Get your stuff done, protect yourself. And when someone rips you off, go to federal court, file it, and get your $75,000 plus on your reward. Because don't let people steal from you guys. But yeah, November 2024, guys. Put it on your calendar. It's not the apocalypse, but it's a new hurdle that we're going to have to get a good running start to jump over.
Interesting. Marvin, you got any thoughts on that?
Wait, what was that ding? Is my turn over?
Done.
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 No, I just want to add on to what Sam was saying. I think that when you're dealing with someone who's using AI to create, they're not learning anything. Right. And they're not learning a craft. They're using a tool to, it's like taking a hammer to everything. You're just using the hammer to put up the nails. You're using a hammer to put together a plate. And if you're not learning anything, why are you involved in something? And then now it comes down just about making money. I want to do this thing to make some money, fast money or something. And maybe there's no money to be made there. So I don't understand what the point is of doing something if you're not into to learn a craft.
Now, to broach the monetary subject real quick, because I think this is important. As a writer and as the owner of Snowpa Publishing, I have a very firm rule on paying my people the very best rates I can, which I get a surprising amount of crap for, which means that my business is dependent upon being able to make those sales, right? I need to be able to put these books in people's hands at a price point that allows me to pay artists for the next issue, to pay them for the next illustration set, things like that. And people who are the end consumer of this, if they are digesting, digital comics for a dime, right? Or, light novels for $1 or what have you, that's not a price point that you or I are going to be able to match using human creators. Especially if you've got for just disclosure, and JD and I have talked about this before. When I do a floppy, my page costs for my total budget is usually around $200 to $250, $300 per page. That's my complete budget per page. So I'm running, usually around $6,000 for a floppy, up or down. Okay. Now, because again, I can't draw anything. Right. My artists being gainfully employed is why when I go to get another issue done and I reach out to the artists who worked on the previous book, and they know they're going to get paid, they're going to get paid on time, they're going to get paid well. No one waits for a paycheck from me. It's paid on the contract date or earlier. I don't have a problem getting artists to come back. But if I've suddenly got a market where I'm like, okay, instead of paying $200, $250, whatever per page, and now I can only pay $3 a page because that's all I can hope to recover on the new price model because of all of the stuff I'm competing against the AI generated stuff. I don't have artists who can work as artists. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I would not come to any artist I work with and ask them to work at that rate. And before anyone says, well, you can get foreign artists for $20 a page, just a quick clarification. The artists that I do employ that are in other countries, they're paid the same rates that I pay the US artists. Okay? Because I don't believe in exploiting people just based on geography. I think that's bullshit of the nth degree.
And I saw JD put a message up saying that it's AI generated. It's not original because it's mining other things to create what it's creating. It's not like the computer doesn't create anything. It just goes out and looks for things that it can piece together and form something.
Mm. And there's a little bit of a difference there between humans, because humans as artists and writers, we take the things that we perceive in our environment, the other art we've experienced, the other stuff we've read, the things we see in our environment, we use that to influence what we're creating too. Mm-hmm. And the argument, and I have to tell you, it's persuasive in many aspects, is that there is an argument for that, is the artificial intelligence learning for it too. The problem you have is that right now is not where we're seeing that. You see actual elements from other images being directly imported, rather than different changes made and adaptations. That's why when you look at things that are done and you're trying to convey, well, hey, draw this image of this particular subject and it needs to look happy, and all of a sudden you see something that looks like it's out of nightmare fuel. Ready to devour your face.
I mean, to me, I just think the whole entire it's dangerous in the ways that of people's jobs and professions, and dangerous for us. Like I said, people aren't learning anymore. People are just it'll be like the movie WALL-E, where people are just sitting in chairs and getting fat while the machines do all the work for them.
Well, I mean, the danger part was months ago. We're living in the first wave of the invasion of it. And I don't mean to be alarmist, but guys, they're short of some really serious, uncharacteristically speedy legislation. We are not going to be speculating about this, because it's not something to spec. It's here and now. I mean, Paul, you want to write a novel while we're here using an AI tool? I mean, you'll be done before this is done, before we're done talking about it.
Right. Well, I mean, and this is the reason why you have a strike now with your Writers Guild, and that's one of the things that it want to put into their bylaws, is that it can't be used, or it's only used in certain factors, or it has a limitation put upon it. But I mean, in this kind of realm, you almost have to be at the point where you have to say, no, I'm not using it. You're not using it.
I thought the writer's strike was more about the royalties.
Right, that too, but and also in that was the AI was part of their complaints of AI, of the studios using AI to replace them in writing scripts and things like that. It's on their list of complaints. The AI is definitely forefront, not only for the writers, but now the artists and the actors are concerned that they could be replaced by an AI generated character.
Well, they probably are being replaced at the moment for stuff that needs to get written. I mean, I wouldn't put it past anyone. I mean, the tool set's already there, guys. The genie, the people that keep talking about when the genie's out of the bottle, but the genie is out of the bottle.
Right. Well, I mean, and now it's up to us to stuff it back in until they get the hell out of here.
You're never going to repress that technology. It's out into the world.
But
what you can change, is the cultural adoption of it. You know, it's like I wasn't always a paralegal, you know, so forgive me for this analogy. Back in the 90s, there was a specialty type of ammunition that was produced. We used to call them black talons. And for people in my old line of work, that was really handy if you were overseas and had, you know, a sudden firefight that you were into. But domestically, they got banned because they blow through body armor, which you kind of need when you're in combat, but you don't really need when you're walking down the street. You know what I'm saying? So you can choose or legislate against the technology. You can have cultural shifts that make it less appealing. And I think that's, in a lot of ways, that's where we are right now, with artists in particularly standing up and saying, hey, just say no to AI art. But at the same time, I have people contacting me on Twitter saying, hey, I'm an AI artist and I can do your comic for $100 for 12 pages.
Wow.
And you're seeing
messages I'm getting today.
And you're seeing comics on Kickstarter that are fully AI art, and they're getting funded with $10,000, $15,000 backers. So even telling people, hey, we're artists, we're against AI, it's kind of not going to stop it. It is already here.
Well, I mean, again, that's up to the platform that's carrying that stuff to recognize that and say no.
The platform doesn't really care about us that much.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I think you know that saying about 18 months from now is kind of unrealistic. I think it's going to be 5 years. But here's my reason, and I'm sorry if I interrupted anybody specifically, but my reasoning is this: I'm not scared of AI art. I'm not scared of AI writing. And the reason I say that is because it's not going to do what I do. It's not going to have that thought of making it unique and different in a unique way. And it's not going to have, and hear me out here, it's not going to have the popularity that you can gain if you go out there and talk to people. Because AI is not going to go out there and talk to people. Popularity sells. I've said it 100 times. I know a lot of people don't believe me whenever it comes to this, but that's our best defense against AI art at the moment. Get out there, sell your books, shake hands, kiss babies, make sure that they know you, because they're not going to know AI art.
Well, I mean, I actually, here's the crazy part. I agree with a lot of what you say, but that part about AI not getting out there and talking to people, you're wrong. Because right now they're building AI assistants where you can build them to go out on Twitter, Facebook, and all these other platforms, and they will go into certain groups, present themselves as super fans, right? And start and talk about a subject. Let's say it's Lord of the Rings. Come in, hey everybody, have you seen Lord of the Rings? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it says, you know what I'm doing now, right? It says, and they'll get into a conversation with people, and then they'll say, hey, and I'm currently reading this book that's on Kickstarter. Go check it out.
But so they try like these.
It's a referral,
right? They try these
which
robots.
Is more powerful. And the thing is here's the thing: we all know how hard we work on Facebook or whatever. Now, Matt, you're one person, I'm one person. Even if we're working as a group, we're like, let's say 10, 15 people. You can have 500 of these things working all over the place, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Right? And that's insane.
Yeah.
If you really think about it. Right?
And it's going to take out a lot of weaker people, a lot of people that don't fight for it, a lot of people that sit back. But if you're out there and you're making your popular, you're selling it, handshaking it. They have these robots that they put into supermarkets to help people. And a lot of people pushed away from that. I'm not saying it's not going to catch on, but I think it's not going to catch on in a year or two. I think it's going to be 5 years.
It might, but it might be that 20. See, here's the scary thing. We don't know, right? We don't know for certain. Because Sam is saying 2024. Listen,
November.
it could be 6 months from now. It could be
November
tomorrow.
2024. I say it would be the intersection where you'll have the writer and art AI intersection to the point that it's independently marketable, and that's going to be our principal competition.
And like I said, I mean, it's on Kickstarter now, and it's selling more than any of my Kickstarters sold.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there's at least 5 of them out there that hit at least 10,000 each.
Yep.
Right.
And again,
yes,
it's going to be one of those things that you have to compete with. You have to understand it's there, and you have to do what you have to do. Yeah. Kickstarter's not my main thing, so I'm okay with it going on to the Kickstarter and getting those funds. I go to LCS's. It's not going to compete with me there yet.
Now, here's the thing, though, Sam. Paul, excuse me. The conversation we just had prior about Frank Miller, right? Those campaigns that you see where the AI is selling what? The most popular looking art style it can to the masses, right? To the most uneducated eyes that it can sell it to. It's selling them sweets. It's selling them the cake, right? Whereas somebody like Frank Miller and us should be moving in the opposite direction to give them what they need, which is not what the AI is ever going to give them.
Right.
You understand? It might be a bitter pill.
No, right? And I agree.
You know, but that's what I'm saying, though. That's what I'm saying. You know, it's a little weird how it folds into that other conversation. But, you know, I mean, the whole AI thing is crazy because, Paige, I'm sorry, we kind of skipped. Let's let Paige answer. I mean, I don't know if you have any thoughts on it, Paige, but please.
No, I'm not as educated in AI as everybody else. I'm kind of new. Yeah, I'm not educated in the AI as everybody else. So, and I didn't see none of the AI comic books yet that Paul mentioned on Kickstarter.
Oh yeah.
So I have no idea what they look like. Yeah. So now I might go check them out, but I have no interest in doing anything AI. I like the method that we do comic books at now, and I plan on keeping that way, at least with Page One comic books. So, I mean, anything's going to take up and grow. You know what I'm saying? So AI is going in a couple of years, you might be forced into a different situation, but it just is what it is. It's always something new coming around. There's always something new coming around, and how you let it affect you is how it affects the industry.
There's a lot of artists out there that are scared of AI art, and I tell them this. How many other artists are there that you're competing against right now? 1,000, a million other artists. So this is another thing that you have to compete with.
It's another competitor. Yeah, it's another competitor.
And that's all it is. You gain that popularity.
Basically, it is. Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
So
my art has started to sell, and it's not good, but it's selling.
Here's something more interesting to think about. Right? It's not so much individuals typing in prompts that if I was an artist, let's say a truly skilled artist, right? Pick someone that's skilled, right? Arthur Adams, just pick an artist, right? Any Chris Bacalo, Travis Charest, whatever, right? Pick a great artist, right? Now imagine you have an artist who's not as good, not as refined, but who can do a story and give you a rough layout. Now imagine them being able to feed that and say, listen, take this template, spit it out to me the same way I give it to you, but I want it illustrated like Arthur Adams, colored by Travis Charest, right? And spit that out for me.
But what are you going to do once it's out?
Huh?
What are you going to do once it's out? It's the person that has to tell it.
No. But what I'm saying, though, is at that point, you understand, people like Arthur Adams are going to really start hurting. You understand? Because the public, forget us. I can't afford Arthur Adams. I can't walk up to and say, Art, bro, I got $500,000. I want that 24-page book. It's not going to happen.
Okay,
right? But I could go to an AI and rent out that machine.
I've heard this, and I don't know if it's true or not. I've heard that the first $1 million campaign on Kickstarter was stick figures.
Yeah, but that's a person also that was running a webtoon for about 10 or 15 years, built up a massive audience, and that has nothing to do with their talent as an artist, but their talent as a writer.
Popularity sells.
Exactly.
Marketing.
Don't worry about the AI art right now. Build your popularity so you can sell and compete with that AI whenever it does get to that level. Popularity sells.
No, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. But the thing is though, as indie creators, our popularity is only going to get so high because we don't have the machines of, let's say, a Marvel and DC pushing us. You understand? I'm telling you, you could hustle from now for another 100 years, and you will probably never be as famous as Frank Miller, Alan Moore, or any of those guys. Neil Gaiman, none of them. The thing is, why are those guys really popular? Because they did work at those companies. They did work. If it wasn't for Frank Miller's run on Daredevil and Batman, would we have even cared about Sin City as much? We would have still lauded him as a genius the way we do Dave Sim on Cerebus. But the Dave Sim on Cerebus, who really talks about him anymore? That's a whisper in the wind, right? I mean, it's horrible to say, but you got to think about it. We're out there, we're all struggling. And here's the thing, what's the cap, right? Where are we gonna peak out at, right? Can we peak out at 100,000 sales, 250,000 sales, right? Where Polito's at? That's tough, man. That's tough. It's a lot to consider. I like I said, I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying there's a lot of factors in it. There's a lot of.
Well, I think there's still artists that are making huge names for like Tinian right now. I mean, his stuff is just booming.
Tinian is good, man.
So I think there's still that window. Like I said, I think it's 5 years. The reason I say I think it's 5 years is because, again, they're not going to go into the stores and meet these people and talk to these people. That's where we got the advantage on them. And then on top of that, whenever they're making comic books, they're not understanding the page turns, the panel flows and stuff like that yet. They're just putting words into prose. And this is
what I'm saying, though.
This is the stuff that you need to take advantage of now to gain your popularity, to combat them. Just to say that we're against them and not to use them is kind of gone. Like I said, there's already 5-10 of them on Kickstarter making about 10,000 each. It's here.
It's not the people who are just typing in prompts, who are brand new, who are just trying to make a buck. Those are not the ones you got to watch out for. It's the people that adopt it, who go in and say, you know what, I'm going to use this. I'm going to use this hard, and they know what they're doing.
Well,
if a Brian Boland goes in and says, yo, all of my books are going to spit out like art germ. Every panel, art germ. That's all I want. Boom. He's going to sell 100,000 copies. He knows storytelling.
That's if they know what they're doing. But I don't think half of the ones that know what they're doing are going to go towards
That's correct. But the thing is the day that people just say, screw it, I can't beat it, I got to join it. That's when it's going to get crazy.
But it's going to happen.
I have no doubt in that.
Artists used to say,
hold on, Paul, because we could argue this all night. Paul, George, your turn. You answer your question.
I wish I hadn't. I think what concerns me, I think, are two things mostly. My first concern is, to Sam's point, is how quickly this is evolving, right? How fast it's gotten out there at this point. At first, I was of your mindset, Paul. I'm thinking, it's going to be a while before this thing can do this. Then all of a sudden, it's getting quicker and faster and faster. And I think my second concern is, if we sleep on this thing, if we think it's not going to happen, we have time, that's when it gets us. It's like that guy who's like that boxer in the ring who puts his guard down, say, go ahead, knock me out. And then he's boxing the other boxer, he knocks him out because he didn't guard up. That's what's happening. I think we need to kind of like take this seriously and become better writers, become better artists. You know what I mean? Saying so that when this stuff is happening, like Sam said, maybe by November 24th, we can actually compete at least creative wise, or at least, as far as skill wise, because like you said, JD, there's no way we're going to compete with a robot going into Twitter telling 5 million people to go to a Kickstarter and pledge. You know what I'm saying? There's no way we're going to compete with that. I don't care how friendly and charismatic we are. There's just no way we're going to be able to do that. You know, that's. But those are my 2 cents, and you guys can.
No, I got you. Well, no, hold on. I want to pull up something real quick that a commentator mentioned earlier. Hold on. Let me pull this up. Hold on. Where is it? Just wanted to say this one right here. Here we go. Where is the good-looking co-host this week? You know, the real star of this show. It says, all I have to say is this. I replaced him with a better-looking co-host. That's it, Jay. Sorry. But, you know. So I just wanted to say.
Take a bow, Paul. Take a bow.
You know?
Gotcha.
All right. Listen, guys, we're gonna pull up. Let's start with Mr. Sam. All right, Sam. We got Tibby and her traveling psychedelic mushroom. I love that. I love that title.
Yep, Tibby and her time traveling psychedelic mushrooms, live on Kickstarter. Guys, this is the story of the girl next door growing her own new homegrown strain of magic mushrooms. In her first experiment with it, it actually hurls her back in time. So we've got beautiful art on this by Damian Torres, interior colors by Dakota Erhan. You've got a fun time travel romp that is full of excitement, beautiful, vibrant colors, dinosaurs, and of course, bubble bath, because we have near nudity, not real full nudity. We have three different versions of our cover for it. And guys, this has been just a fantastic outpouring of support from our folks. We are closing in on the halfway point of our goal. Our goal is 8,000 on this one. And this goes back to what I was saying before. We pay our people well. So everything here is made by humans. And here's one of our interior pages. Basically, this book is just an exercise in beauty, really. I love what the team has done here. We are going to be fulfilling this in September, and I actually need to go in and put a sold out on the original cover because that was picked up last night. So
fantastic.
Yep.
Cool. All right.
For those of you who haven't seen it, this is going to be one of the last times you'll be able to see it for real, because it's going to be on a wall in Australia come September. Wow. But that is the original cover art by Damian Dimitri Torres. Just absolutely beautiful.
Hey Sam, quick question for you. Is Damian the interior artist on the entire book also?
He is, yes.
Oh wow, yeah.
The interior colors, though, for this one are being done by Dakota Erhan, who's another Kubert School graduate, just like Damian is. He was recommended not just by Nick Capone, who teaches coloring at the Kubert School, but also by Alexia Veldhausen and a few of the other artists that I work with. And I take their opinions very seriously. So I reached out to him, and we got him on coloring on the book inside our budget. So we paying him according to it. So this is my third series that I'm working on. We got 47 Furious Tales, of course, and Reign of Ages that I write as well. And then I'll be adding 2 more next year, hopefully, budget holding up. And then we're also, of course, publishing books by 3 other artists this year and maybe 2 more next year as well. So the whole thing about trying to make sure we're making the money to put money in people's pockets is very real. And I've got a graphic I'm still working on for the team. So this it's a gorgeous book, guys. If you I'll show this to you. We did a print at 11 by 17 for what our holochrome cover is going to look like. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. This thing is absolutely gorgeous.
Wow. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah.
So, and then we've got it in holochrome, and then we've got it in a regular cover, but while we're close up. That's the original. It's going to go live in Australia, guys.
Very nice. Hold up the holochrome again.
Whoop. Watch me drop it.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good. Very good.
Yeah.
We making the best products we possibly can, the highest quality materials that we can use, and make a point at getting it to people's hands. So, assuming we fund, and I'm kind of assuming that, but we'll keep working like we're drowning right until the very end, because it's always like that on Kickstarter for me anyway. Assuming that we fund, this will be either the 25th campaign we'll have fulfilled since we started in 2017. So between Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and crowdfunder.
Nice.
Yep.
Very nice.
That mushroom is a sticker that we're going to be a sticker that we'll have as a stretch goal that we've kind of announced. We just haven't put it on the campaign yet. That's by Pete Vasquez. And then we have an original art piece for another stretch goal that's from Sandra Cole, which is an image of Tibby in the bathtub.
Cool. Now, Sam, so, at what point do you think you're going to start going through? I mean, if you even consider it, I don't even know. I mean, do you have any thoughts of like going through wider distribution? Let's say something like Lunar or Diamond.
Penguin Random House is my first choice right now. But I have some things that are going on with some certain titles. So, for example, 47 Furious Tales, we're in discussions right now to license the release of 47 in the European market. The company in question is also seeing our other comics that's been added to the discussion. Whether or not that pans out, we'll yet to see. But with wider distribution, particularly in the US, Canada, Mexico, for 47 Furious Tales, I want to wait till we're at least through issue 10, so that we can finish the entire run when we go to full distribution month to month to month and get it out. With Reign of Ages, I'd like to have at least 12 issues out. And then Necroholic by Brian Lee, we've gotten a lot of interest in that. So that may actually start seeing quarterly distribution, depending on what the numbers look like when we finish our discussions. But right now it looks like our first most likely widespread distribution in a continental market is probably going to be Europe, with the US coming a little bit behind once we're ready to put stuff out at the faster pace the US market looks at. For the Japanese market, we won't be releasing in Japan for 47 until the entire series is done, just because of the insane rapid cadence that we have to get it out in. Everything will have to be done in advance. And then Brazil and probably the same way. South America, Central America, or for Spanish translations.
Right.
Maybe 2025.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, listen, it's good to see that it's on the docket, man. I mean, you're definitely heading in the right direction.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. When you don't draw it, I mean, you've got to pay people to do it, and so the business is important. And paying people well is important.
Yep.
Because no one wants to work for a cheapskate.
No.
And
never.
Sonoma Publishing is not just like, oh, it's Sam making money, because I put everything I make from Sonoma, well, almost. I think I've taken like $380 out, I think is what I think it is, in the last 6 years, because I bought some shoes for me and my daughter and a couple other things. But I mean, that's it. Everything else has gone right back into it. But the whole thing is that this is a company I want to leave to my kids one day, and so I'm building it on the most ethical principles I can muster, and that involves trying to make the business work at with the tool sets that we have available: Kickstarter, crowdfunder, Indiegogo. Although Indiegogo has not approved my last 2 campaigns.
Really?
Yes, it's really interesting. I didn't get like a rejection or anything. I just went to launch and they didn't launch. And so waited and waited and waited. I ended up having to take one down and then put it back in and relaunch it, and it went. And then the last one I did, I put it in, and I put it in October, and it still hasn't launched.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
And they haven't contacted you? Just said, listen, this is wrong. This is wrong.
No, they haven't. I've emailed them multiple times. I haven't had a response. So not sure what's going on there. I'm not sure if it's systemic or, if it's personal. Right. I don't know. But I kind of doubt it would be personal because I'm not exactly controversial.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense that it would be on that level.
Yeah, not since October. Yeah, not since October. You know what I mean?
But sometimes I forget it's even up there. I went to go in and build a campaign for a quarterly release thing that I wanted to do, and I looked. I'm like, oh yeah, the one I built in October is still sitting there floating around, not launched. Like, well, I'm gonna end up having to take it down too before I try launch the other.
Gotcha. All right, I'm gonna play this. And this is for Paige.
Yeah.
Check it out. A car like that's got to be worth a few bucks, right? Money on the able, man. Take the van, and I'll meet you back at the farm. Come on, Dwight. We were supposed to be having a quiet one. You know, a clerk working in a place like this sees a fella in a hood and a mask walk through the door. You might jump to conclusions. I'm just here for gas. Huh? Hey! These guys just stole my car. Do you know them? Look, I don't get involved in stuff like this. You can use the payphone to call the cops. I don't need the cops. I asked if you knew them. Coming here from time to time looking for booze and cigarettes. They're punks. I need details. I can track my car. I just need to know where to find them. There's a farm about 3 miles west of here. Some bad folks call that place their own. Those punks included. That's where you'll find her car. You watch yourself out there. You don't want to mess with the wrong people. No, you don't.
Very nice.
That's a badass video.
Yeah, that's a good trailer. I like that.
Great, man.
Yeah, so that's what Blowtorch coming out soon. With Page One Comics / Comicsburg. So you can look for that this summer. And the idea behind it is that with doing chess and Blowtorch in the past issues, you stay in an espionage action style comic book. This one I wanted to get a little bit more gritty. The movies that I enjoy, like Roadhouse and stuff like that, I wanted to get into that gritty type of storyline, and that's what we're doing with this one. This Bad Roads issue 1 is really kind of different from what you would see in chess, and I can't wait for y'all to see it. If y'all fans of movies like Roadhouse or Point Break or something like that, this is more gritty and into the ground, and with a lot of action, and I think you're gonna really enjoy it. I can't wait to get it out.
All right, cool. I mean, when are you putting out the Kickstarter? Are you going through Diamond? Because I know you're going through Comicsburg. So you going to Diamond? You Kickstarting?
Yeah, it'll be going straight to Diamond. I'm playing. I believe it's Marvin has it on the schedule for the summer, and yeah, it's going. You should hear an announcement very soon when it should be coming out.
I don't know why I have to wait very soon. I got Marvin right here now.
Yeah, it should be in the next preview.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, talking about the next previews.
Or no, we're talking about the current previews, right?
Well, let's look at this one first. Let's look at this first. Nice. All right, I'm gonna play this one for you. All right.
Ooh, look at that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So just a little bit of aside to that, making action figures is not for the faint of heart, and I wouldn't recommend or put that curse on anybody unless you really want to do it. So, but I'll be talking about that more once we get closer to production on the pains and the procedures behind when the action figures done. Loosecollector and I may be doing a service for action figures for other indies, so keep an eye out for that too.
Cool. Marvin, if you're going to do that, then shoot me an email, okay?
Okay.
Because I want to see what the price structure looks like.
Yep.
Yeah, the action figure looks incredible though. So they did an amazing job with that.
Oh yeah, they man, if you've seen their other figures, they do a really good job with their figures and the so I've got, I don't know if you saw, they did a Kickstarter for a Mr. Hyde, and that's on its way to me now. So I'll be taking pictures and showing that too.
Fantastic. All right.
Now you said it's not for the faint of heart. So at what point did you feel insane? You felt the need to do this?
I mean, because like it's been something that I've wanted to do for years, and
right.
it afforded me an opportunity knocked, and I didn't want to turn it away because it probably wouldn't knock again. And I felt like that if I said, no, I don't want to do it right now, then they never would have come back to me and said, hey, do you want to do this? And I don't think if it wasn't for Loosecollector, there'd be no way I'd do it. I saw what JD's going through with trying to do his figures, and I'm like, oh, man, it's really good to have friends in that business.
Right.
Wow.
Gotcha. Now, without disclosing any numbers, what's a rough number?
So you're looking probably around between $12 to $20 a figure.
Okay. Now, is that your core cost, or what are we looking at retail?
Retail, I mean, it's going to be up and down. I mean, right now I have the pre-order at $35.
Right.
If you're going retail, what retailer is going to sell for that kind of price?
Right.
So I'm right now doing some numbers and some finagling with some of the stores I go direct to. I've already reached out to Big Bad Toy Store. I'll probably reach out to Entertainment Earth and some other stores, but now I'm looking at just stores that sell like action figures to see what their take on it is and to see what kind of discount I can give them, because no one's walking into these stores like, hey, you got that new $35 action figure?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean,
how big is it?
It's G.I. Joe scale, so 3 1/4.
Oh wow.
Was it 3?
Yeah, if it was 6 inches, it'd be like, I don't know if you guys, they have Critter listed on Big Bad, and I think that thing is running like $95. I think the Lady Death is running $95 too. So the bigger the figure, the more it's going to cost. I didn't like when I originally started. I thought about doing the 112 and thought against it because I just didn't think that it would move at that kind of price. Like making a smaller figure, and then all the accessories, and we're actually going to have a pack in with a Blaine solo book, just to grease the wheels a little bit. But I mean, the pre-orders have been pretty good. I mean, I was surprised after posting it on some Facebook pages and then posting it on some of the action figure forums. Pre-orders kicked up really high.
Fantastic.
More than likely, there's still going to be a Kickstarter or a crowdfunding of some kind to get me to my goal of how much I don't have to kick in to get the production started.
So, what's the minimum order on the
1,000.
production? 1,000 units.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. All right.
Like,
Yeah, man.
for them, it just doesn't make sense to do anything lower than that.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
So that's when I say it's for the faint of heart. But if things work the way I think they're going to work, it'll help bring the cost down a little bit because we'll have a body to use. So then it'll be about creating bodies and then sharing that with the community and seeing what they can work with, and that'll get the cost down. Like the more we make, the lower the cost will be. So for the upfront, it's going to be pricey, but after that, then the cost will come down.
Gotcha. And that's obviously the sculpting and mold costs.
Yes.
Yeah, getting that economy of scale to distribute.
But the good news is that the prototype, the cost of the prototype is going to roll into the price of the production.
Gotcha. All right, cool, man.
Gotcha.
So now what's going on in previews?
So this month in previews, where Comicsburg is back because we're doing quarterly now. So we've got issue 3 of Beowulf, issue 3 of The Edge, and then issue 1 of The Edge was relisted for people who missed it.
Wow. Okay.
Nice.
So I mean, sales have been steady. We'd like to get them a little higher, but I mean that goes along with the marketing thing. So I think that in some cases we'll probably change our strategy a little bit. Like I did a lot of emailing, and didn't do a lot of phone calls on issue 2.
Right.
And of course, issue 2 is always the hitter. But issue 3, we're going to go back to the standard way we do things. For every email, someone gets a phone call. We've also started shifting out. So we've got a few like pizza places that that sell games, like board games. So we're talking about them about carrying books. And I'm going to try some drugstores and see what they say. Drugstores used to be a place you could buy comics, so maybe we can bring that back. So I mean, I'm not just looking at comic shops anymore. Anything that carries anything geeky is where I'm going to go and try to find out, do you guys want to carry some comic books?
Well, I mean, that works because I mean, like I said, I sell comics in dispensaries out in Oregon and Denver, and I'm talking with some folks about getting some of our titles into this one liquor store chain. Things that are where people are going to be, in addition to like the comic shops and everything else, because it's if I want people to buy the book has to be where the people are.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
And the good thing about it is that a lot of these places are independently owned now, and they're either franchises owned by a single person or it's independently owned. It's not a corporate person you have to talk to about this stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Where they can
That's right.
Whatever. I don't want to talk to you. Now it's a person that's in the same field you are, an independent person doing independent things.
Can I offer an idea?
Sure.
Something that, because one of the things I've been looking for is a vending machine for comics and manga. But what's a lot easier to find are like the crane games.
Yes.
So I mean, you could take your figs, mix in some inexpensive little fluff toys and such, and then put like crane games into like different businesses around your area, and use that to also move that product.
Right.
Additionally, and even though like the individual user is only doing like $1 a pop or something, as long as you're maintaining those things, you're turning usually a few $100s a week, and that could be a really nice way to supplement the income if you've got like a few figs that are loose, for example, like maybe the packaging was damaged during shipping. I mean, just make your money.
Right. Yeah, like a vending machine is something like that I've actually been thinking. Like I didn't think of a crane machine as sort of like, but vending machine is something as a business that I was looking into, and like looking around for places where you could set something up. Here in Pittsburgh, someone has set up a vending machine, like a building that has vending machines in it, and it's like filled with like oddities from around the world. So I don't know if you guys ever watch some of those vending machine videos on YouTube where they go and they have a vending machine park and they just eat like steaks out of it.
Wow.
Yeah, so stuff like that. Yeah, I'm like, I probably wouldn't eat a steak out of a vending machine, but they're doing it, so it can't be bad, I assume.
Wow.
Gotcha. Now, out of curiosity, how's Diamond treating you, or how do you feel?
So I mean, well to a certain extent. I mean, to me, I still think that they're a little behind the times in the way they do things. So I'm hoping that that picks up. But I mean, I've been in contact with Lunar and Universal. So I mean, that door is going to open up pretty soon. So we'll see what they have, what they're doing different. I don't know if I said it before, but Universal is opening up a warehouse in the States in 2024. So they say first or second quarter of 2024, they'll have a warehouse in the States. So they'll be able to ship comics inside the States and not just in Canada.
Being in Diamond, do you get into more LCSs? Do you do like store signings and stuff because you're in Diamond?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I think that you get a lot. Like, so to me, being in the catalog is a door pusher.
Yeah.
Because when I was just going direct, a lot of stores told me, "Hey, we'd like to carry your book, but we don't want to order directly. We want to go through a distributor. So once you're in Diamond, hit us up." And I did that, and they ordered books. But in that instance, it's all about, again, communication and making sure you're communicating and keeping up with those stores on, do they still have product available? Are they ordering more? And just making sure that they're comfortable with the way that you're doing business and you're comfortable with the way they're doing business and making sure they're pushing your book. I mean, we had sellouts across the board with issue 1 for both books.
Oh, that's good.
Fantastic.
But like I said, is that Diamond is just the door pusher. You still got to do the legwork on all that other stuff that you have to do. You have to communicate because a lot of stores, when I contact them, they said, "Hey, if you wouldn't have called me, I would have went right past the book in the catalog because it's a phone book. Like no one's flipping through there and looking for anything specific. They usually stop at the front with Image or Dark Horse. Whoever's in the front now, it's either Image or Dark Horse, and that's it. And that's as far as they go."
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's not entirely true. I go through that damn book every month.
But you're not a retailer. If you were a retailer, I'd be calling you.
Yeah, you're the one person that reads the whole book.
I go. Well, I don't read the whole book, but I do go through it. I flip through it several times. I watch TV and I just flip through it. Just to order my personal collection because
I mean, but one of the good things that I did notice in some situations, a lot of stores are giving away the catalog for free.
Mm-hmm.
Some stores are selling it. Some stores are like, just take it.
Yeah.
Right.
And some of them they put it in to your box when you go to pick up your books. The catalog is part of your
pool.
Your pool box.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a lot of work, and I mean, everybody understands that, but it's one of the things that you really, like I said, that it's daunting, and another thing is that it's time consuming, and it's something that I really want to get away from because it takes away creating time. I mean, this is a monthly thing I have to do with inventory and getting everything into the our rep at Diamond's hands on time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's something that is going to be Paige's pain pretty soon because I'm going to be talking to him continuously. Is your stuff ready? Is your stuff ready? Come on, let's go. So, and that's another reason why doing a monthly book is something you probably don't want to touch. I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it every month. I'd lose my mind.
Now, the other question I have for you is, I've seen you've gone from opening price of $3.99. Now you're $4.99. Now, obviously, there are obvious reasons for that, but I mean, if you could elaborate on it.
Sure. $3.99 comic books will kill you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it shouldn't even exist anymore. Your profit margins are thin enough. Right. Selling a book at $3.99 is just not going to hit it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The average price would be $4.99. Yeah. Average price is like $4.99 unless you
probably say in the next 2 years the average price is going to be $5.99.
Right.
That's right.
I already see a lot of indies already moving in that direction.
Yeah, one of our newer books, Theme of Thieves, which will be pushed out into Diamonds pretty soon, is going to be a kicker at $5.99.
Gotcha. Now the 24 pages, 32 pages.
The first issue is 32. The second issue is 32, and then I started kind of lowering it down to 24. Just because I felt like in some cases there was a lot of filler that I could cut.
Right. Gotcha. Okay.
So I mean, I don't slow myself down on purpose. So if it goes 32 pages, it goes 32 pages. I mean, it's not going to matter.
Right.
But we're going to do the one shots and the annuals that'll go to 40 pages or more, and we'll just have to charge what they're worth.
Gotcha. All right. Cool. Listen, it looks awesome, man. And that's in the current previews, or is that going to be next month?
Previews right now.
Okay. No, but is that for was that July? Is that going to be in the July catalog?
June.
June. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's for orders, so it's out right now. So that came out Tuesday. So you didn't read the whole catalog?
No. It came out last Tuesday?
Yeah. No.
Yeah, brand new.
Came out this week.
Yeah, brand new.
Yeah.
Yep.
Last Tuesday. Oh, I thought the catalog came out this Wednesday.
Well, no, the digital version is up. So it's
I'm old. I buy the physical version.
No, I mean it's website. It's on the website right now. So it launched on the website like a week or so before it hit stores.
All right.
That's right.
All right, cool. All right, listen, Paul.
Yes, sir.
Bro, it's your time. Please ask your question.
Because I got 100 of them. So this is the one I chose.
Just one.
This is the one I chose. So okay. Again, I'm not that. I'm pretty new in the business, about a year and 4 months or whatever. And my first book that I put out sold pretty well. What I'm kind of wondering is, when do you stop selling a book? I mean, is there a certain number that you print to and then stop selling at that point? Or do you let the market dictate it? Or do you just continuously sell it forever?
Okay, fair enough.
I have an answer for that.
Wait, hold on, Sam. Paige is next.
Sorry.
Let Paige go. Paige.
Yeah, you sell as long as the interest is there. So, I mean, I don't know about how you sell it. It all depends on how you sell it. I mean, once it comes out, it comes out. But you could continue to sell it at conventions or whatever online as long as the interest is there. So, there's no limit to how long you can sell it. You might have people that's come looking for it anyway. So, yeah, I don't see a limit for that.
All right, cool. Marvin, what are your thoughts?
I don't think I've ever let a book go out of print.
Yeah.
So I mean, why artificially take something out of print if you don't have to? Like, keep selling it. I mean, if it sells,
doesn't it take like the rarity out of it? I was thinking about killing all the current covers and then making a new one. But I mean,
yeah. I mean, that's due. Like I've got multiple covers for every issue I do, and then the one when I was talking to one of the retailers that I work with, and he was asking me about Lunar and Universal, and he said, will you do different covers for that? I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sell the same cover.
So what number would you kill it at?
For the cover?
Yeah, I mean, what would be the highest number that you would put one cover out for?
Oh, no. I mean, I don't really think about it in that way. I think of it as, like, you have a diamond cover. I've got a cover for the online store, a cover for Lunar, a cover for Universal. As long as they're ordering it, they're going to get that cover.
That's right.
So there isn't any reason for me to kill a cover. I mean, unless.
So you're talking about a limited variant cover? Are you talking about like a limited variant cover, like a 200?
Well, you know how Marvel does a first print, and they only do a certain number of that first print until they stop it and then go to a second print.
Yeah, but Marvel has those numbers. So, Marvel has a different set of numbers that we
that's what I'm saying. What kind of number would you put it at? Because I know some of their numbers are 1,000 or 2 on some of the lower ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So,
but
like, let's
they
say
sell
I sell.
they sell that much.
Let's say I sell 2,000 of my first book. Should I kill that cover?
I'd say no.
I mean, you can. I mean, it's up to you. You can. I mean, it's like this all individual decisions. So yeah, I just did. Yeah, sometimes I just do new covers for the older ones that if people want to pick up the new cover, but yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Cool.
the way Marvel does it, I don't think kind of runs into the independent market like that. So easy.
Right. I mean, so like I said that. So what's Marvel's count before they do a second print?
Well, it depends on the title.
Yeah, like I said, is it the same for every book? Because then, if it's not, then it's an artificial number. Then.
All right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
You're saying if X-Men number 1,000 sells 5,000 copies, they kill that cover and then do a second print. But if Captain Marvel sells 50, they cut that and then do another print.
Yeah.
I mean that's the funny thing about it. But okay, that's cool. Now, Sam, I know you're chomping at the bit.
Oh, sorry.
Right.
You're
creating artificial rarity.
Yeah, I just have a particular way I do it. When I did my first comic, I only printed 500 copies of that cover, which was a huge mistake. I should have printed more like 5,000. But what I decided when I started doing floppy comics was that I don't reprint floppy covers. So only 500 of these were ever made, right? And then when we sold out, like almost instantly, I commissioned another cover from the artist and we printed 3,000 of those, right? When we finally sell out of the last of those, which we've got, I think 700 left of those, then we'll print another one depending on what projected volume. That's probably going to be a 5,000 print run, just because we keep selling the book. The idea being to preserve any hope of collectible value for the folks who are picking up through the Kickstarter campaigns and from the conventions. When we went to issue 2 for 47, we had 3 covers, and so I knew I needed more books because of where sales were going. So we printed 1,500 of each of those 3 covers, and when they're done, when they're sold out, then we'll do a new cover for issue 2. For the print-on-demand sites, before I put anything available as a print-on-demand title, it'll have its own non-collectible, mass production, get it as long as you want it kind of cover available for it. And we'll make sure they're beautiful, but they won't be ones that are having any semblance of collectability, And like for Tibby, we're hoping to print 5,000 copies of that. I'd like to print 10, but realistically, I don't think I have the space. So if we sell through, 5,000 in the next year or so, we'll go ahead and we'll commission Damien to do another cover for issue 1. I like it because, like I said, it does preserve that extra sense of value for the people who help you bring that book to the world. It can be a limiting factor, especially if your crowdfunding doesn't do really well to pay that up too much. There's a few of these that I would really like to have, 5,000 more copies of them than I do. But, it is what it is. With digital sales, I mean, everything's always available digitally.
Right.
My role-playing game books, those are available print on demand because they're not really a collectible thing. Not really, not for any of what they are. But when we get ready to go to, like I've got a con in June, for example, I'm gonna have to order print copies of print runs of some of my RPG books. I'm sold out of almost everything right now. So I don't let anything like just die on the vine. It stays on there. We keep selling stuff. Contractually, for several of the books I have out, there are royalties attached to some of the contributors. So they continuously earn royalties on it, which is, thank God for drive-through. That's all I can say. That's a real nice way to roll because they get paid automatically. So yeah, it's something that I pay a lot of attention to because I have to really go over those numbers.
Well, the reason I ask is my first book, I had to do 3 print runs. That first one on Kickstarter, I had a back page that said thank you, which really should have been my publisher that was supposed to be on the back page. So my second print had the publisher on the back, and then my third print had my logo because I was away from the publisher. But I was reaching about 2,000 on those, and I'm like having to do some more prints because I'm about to run out, and I'm like, should I just kill these covers and make a new one for the next print? That'll be my fourth run of prints.
You know, that's
a
huge question to address. Like, let me give you a little example here. This is the Reign of Ages issue 2 cover by Aishagul Senev, right? I should have printed 4,000 more of these because we did the press run. I said, okay, we got this. We're going to be good. And then I got the orders from my retailers, and I now just have enough to cover the add-ons from the Reign of Ages 3 campaign, and then a half box of them to take to a convention. And we won't reprint this cover for a floppy. So, I mean, the guys who got that's it. It's done. Yeah. We'll either hire Aisha to do another cover for issue 2, which might be hard because we're going to hire her to do cover for issue 4. She's already done 2 covers for issue 3. And then, tying her up with trying to come back and do another. We might do one with maybe Damian Torres or Kelsey Cohen, one of the other fantastic freelancers we work with. But that whole, I don't want to say it's an artificial scarcity. It's because it is really very deliberately scarce in the sense that the better our Kickstarter campaign does, the more the copies we get. But I mean, if you're one of the few people who helped us squeak by on a low press run Kickstarter campaign, these things aren't being printed in the 5,000, 10,000 sphere. They're printed, like the 2,000 to 3,000 sphere, or sometimes lower than that. And so I would argue if the funding is available, if you're running through 2,000 copies pretty quick, I would find the cover artist that you want. Get the bang up cover that you want to get long-term sustained sales, and clear out some space and do a 5,000 copy press run.
All right, there you go. George, what are you thinking?
Yeah, no, I think I agree with what Sam was saying. I think that if you're worried about the rarity of a cover, well, if you pull that first run that's it. If you don't have that anymore, it's gone. Like, that is the rarity of that first print run. Like, somebody has that print run. So now I think that's a nice problem to have. You're selling out of your books. So keep printing it. It's there. Like, it'd be different if it weren't the book. Then when do I kill that title? Should be the question, right? Because it's not selling, if that's what you want to do. But I think if your book is selling, there's no reason to repeat that the sales are there. I lean more towards graphic novels, like just trades, because I slap an ISBN. Not that you can't do that on a floppy, but I'll slap an ISBN. It's a graphic novel now, and the shelf life is a little longer on that. I think you should keep printing your book, man.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I mean, for myself, I do as much reprinting as I can, right? And I use everything at my disposal, right? But what I do is, for, let's say, my Kickstarters, I usually limit the print run to about 250 to 500 books, because I'm usually only using them for Kickstarter. I'm not selling them to LCSs yet. I'm not going in that direction. That's later. And then if you look inside of my books, it'll say I'll number them 1 through 250. I'll sign them and they'll go off. Once that run is done, I will not be reprinting that in the same format. So you may see that same story I'm doing it in black and white. Maybe in the future it'll be in color. Maybe it'll be something else. Maybe it'll be in color. Maybe it'll go into a trade paperback, so on and so forth. But as far as the story is concerned, I always say keep it in print, because, like I said, Richard and Wendy Pini, those are my heroes, right? If you've ever seen ElfQuest, printed over the last 40 years in dozens of different formats, black and white, color, manga size, comic book size, magazine size, you name it, they've had it printed from dozens of different publishers. God bless them. I love them. You understand? Because that's how it should be done. You have to keep that. You have to keep the story alive so that you continuously make funds off of it. You know,
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
and that's what you have to do. You've created it. Let's try to make as much capital out of it as you can. You know, keep that sucker running.
Remember the work that you put into that project to making it the best you can. You need to make that project work for you to help, keep you eating and breathing and living, so that you can make other projects that, you can put so much of your life and energy into. It's
That's right.
It's no joke about it, man. We are biological machines. We have some needs, and by goodness, last time I checked, everything's costing more every day. So yeah, I would keep everything in print unless you put out something that you later realize that is something that you don't want to be remembered for.
Well, and the funny thing is, I was talking to Sam Vera about this. He was telling me that I should push this book more often, and I tell people, it was a passion project that I made, and originally I didn't expect to sell it. I expected to kind of give it away with my other book. Of course, I was naive and I was new to the business and didn't realize the costs and all that stuff. But now that I've got these other books selling decently, I don't see where it's going to hurt me if I stop selling that first book. And don't get me wrong, I think it was a great book, and I want people to have it and know that story. But like I was telling Sam, I was like, I don't want to exploit it. And that's the big issue with me. I don't want to exploit it, that even though it's my bestseller.
Now,
my other ones are.
So Paul, real quick, I heard an interview that you were on where you spoke about the impact that book had.
Yeah. Uh-oh. I think we lost him. No, it's had a huge impact on a lot of people. I mean, they came and told me how,
yeah, that's
how it was.
So I don't think you're exploiting it if it's doing something that positive in people's lives. You understand what I'm saying? So yes, while you're making money doing it and putting it out there, I think that you shouldn't look at it as you're exploiting it. I think you're just putting it out into the world, and people like it, and it's making people feel so great. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. You know what I'm saying?
Continuing the fan base. Yeah, you're just continuing the fan base of the comic book. So yeah, I mean.
Yeah, and here's the other thing: if you feel exploitive in some way, right? I mean, my understanding is that you did it for a reason, right? You did the book to help you out. There's a specific reason why you created the book. You could always take a portion of the proceeds and donate it to an organization that helps out, people, with that situation, right? And maybe that'll help alleviate your guilt if you have any over it, right? That's like, right? But I mean, you can use it to help people,
No, I've definitely thought about that one, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's how I see it. If you feel you have too much money, you could always pass it on to me. Right? Or right,
that's true.
Or
I mean,
just
if
pass it on to the organization.
Yeah, if you got too much money, I think there are some crowdfunding campaigns here you can donate to. Make a real difference.
There you go.
Well, I think my other books are taking all my money down from that first book.
So I'm just saying though, you say you got too much money. We're gonna help you out with that situation every time.
No, it's not that I ain't got too much money. It's just that I don't want to exploit this one book. Like I said, I got the other ones that sell decently, and I don't know if I need that one out there as much. But
I would say don't kill your cash cow.
Yeah,
keep your cash cow.
And anything that creates a profit, you just keep it going. Yeah, that's what comic books is. It's people, you still go buy X-Men #1 from Marvel.
That is true. Yeah, those books are still available in reprint.
Yeah, don't be afraid to make money off the work you've done.
Right.
That's how I stay in business.
That's the whole point. That's the independence. That's the whole point. So I mean, like.
Well, I didn't know that going in. I kind of got in by accident, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, you independent. You making money off your catalog. So
yeah.
All right, gentlemen. This was a lot of fun. I mean, I hope it was interesting on some level. We got to talk about Frank Miller and his crazy covers. Got to talk a little bit about AI, everybody's campaigns, which is really cool. And just remember, everybody, all this stuff is in the links in the show notes. So you click on the links, go buy some books, and go buy books. So Sam, please let everybody know where they can find you and your work, sir.
Sure thing. You can find our existing body of work available digitally through Drive-Thru Comics, Drive-Thru RPG, Sinopa Publishing LLC there, including all of our role-playing game source books and resources, as well as all of our comics available in digital format. You can find our comics and role-playing game books at certain local comic shops and shops such as Third Eye Comics, The Collective, The Hive, Cosmic Capes Comics, The Box, Patriot Comics, and Nerd Kingdom. And I'm forgetting the others. I'm really sorry. So guys, don't kill me. I'll make it up for you when I ship. I'll send you an extra book when I ship it. I know I'm forgetting the guys. I'm forgetting the guys in Georgia. I'm forgetting the guys in Ohio. I'm sorry. But yeah, you can find them there. And then of course we're on Kickstarter under WS Quinton, which would be me. And right now with Tibby, go out and get your copy of that. And of course on social media at Sinopa Publishing on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Cool. Mr. Paige, where can they find you and your work, sir?
You can look at Project Chess on Facebook. And starting next month with the release of Blowtorch Battle Roads Issue 1, you'll be able to see me on the Comicsburg online page. And with the updates from there.
Cool. Marvin?
Yes, sir. So you can find everything that you need to know to locate me on theedgecomic.com. All my links are there, including to the link tree where you can get all the goodies.
Nice. Paul, where can they find you your work, sir?
I'm Paul Gomez. You can catch me at Paul Gomez 790 on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. If you ever need any help with comics, knowing one thing or another that I might know, I'm glad to help. If you just need a call, need to talk to a friend, I'm there for you. Paul Gomez 790, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Nice. Mr. George?
You guys can find me on Instagram at get_your_meds. You can also go to my website, getyourmeds.com. Pick up my books there. I got t-shirts, all kinds of fun stuff in there. And also catch me on Tuesday nights on Catch the Craze at 9 p.m. live on Tuesdays.
Nice.
All right, cool. Well, I'm JD Calderon, writer and creator of the Oswald Chronicles. We're launching a new campaign tomorrow. So please join us. Like I said, please, everybody, go buy more independent comics, especially ours. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great night. And we'll be talking to you all soon. Take care. Next week we'll be back with JD Rosario. Sorry.
Everybody's watching that.
Oh.
Have a good vacation, Jay.